Scorpio, your phone will ring, or a message will arrive, or you'll chance run into that person at a place you used to frequent together, and the exact second you see their name on the screen or recognize their face across the street, your whole body will freeze. The air will leave your lungs. Your heart will race in a way you haven't felt in years. Because that person, the one who hurt you in a way that scarred you forever, who made a mistake you swore you'd never forgive, is coming back. And they want to talk. They want to fix what's broken. They want to ask for forgiveness for what they did. And you, Scorpio, are completely unprepared for this, because you've spent years building walls around this wound, years convincing yourself that you've moved on, that it doesn't matter anymore, that you're too strong to still care about what that person did. But the truth, and you know this deep down, is that you never forgot. Not for a single day. Scorpios don't forget. You just bury it deeper, lock it away better, pretend more skillfully, but the pain is there, alive and throbbing, waiting for the moment it's forced to resurface. And that moment is arriving now. This person carries a guilt that won't let them sleep peacefully. They've spent all these years knowing they did something unforgivable to you, living with the weight of what they destroyed between you. And finally, they've mustered enough courage or desperation to try to fix it. To look into your Scorpio eyes, those eyes that see through all masks, and admit, I was wrong, I hurt you, and I need to try to fix this, even if it's too late. You already know who this person is, don't you? Their name popped into your mind the moment you read the title. It wasn't just anyone who hurt you slightly. It was that specific person who wounded you deep in your soul, the one you trusted completely and who used that trust as a weapon against you. The one who saw your most vulnerable points and chose to attack exactly there. The one whose mistake wasn't an accidental slip, but a deliberate betrayal that changed something fundamental within you. For Scorpios, born between October 23rd and November 2nd, this person was someone you loved absolutely. A romantic love that ended in devastating betrayal. For those born between November 3rd and 12th, the past mistake involves someone from your family or a decades-long friendship, someone who should have protected you but chose to hurt you. And for those born between November 13th and 21st, this person represents a professional or trust betrayal that affected not only you, but your reputation, your plans, your sense of security in the world. The mistake this person made wasn't something small that time naturally erases. It was something big. It was choosing someone else when they promised to choose you. It was revealing their secrets when they promised to keep them. It was abandoning you when you needed them most. It was lying repeatedly when they swore they were being honest. It was using you for their own gain and then discarding you. It was something that made you question your own ability to trust someone again. And you, being a Scorpio, didn't just feel the pain, you completely internalized it. You transformed it into part of your identity. That person's betrayal taught you to be even more cautious, even more selective, even more protective. You used the pain as armor, transformed the anger into fuel to become stronger, more independent, more invulnerable. And it worked to a certain extent. You rebuilt yourself, you survived, you moved on without that person. But you also paid a price for it. The price of never fully trusting anyone again, of always expecting the next betrayal, of constantly testing people to see if they will disappoint you, of keeping everyone, even those who truly love you, at a safe distance where they can't hurt you in the same way. You turned the wound into a fortress, but you became trapped inside it. And now this person wants to talk. They want to look you in the eye and say they were wrong. They want to admit what they did, take the blame, ask for your forgiveness. And the mere possibility of this is triggering a whirlwind inside you that you didn't expect to feel. Because part of you, that part that built a whole narrative of overcoming and strength, doesn't want to give this person the satisfaction of knowing they still affect you. They don't want to show any vulnerability. They don't want to admit that the wound never fully healed. But another part of you, deeper and more honest, feels something different. You feel curious about what she has to say. You feel an unexpected desire to finally have the answers you never had, to understand why it happened, to hear the words you should have heard years ago. And perhaps, just perhaps, you feel a deep weariness of carrying so much resentment, so much pent-up hatred, so much energy invested in never forgetting, never forgiving. Scorpio, you've lived these past years with a very clear narrative in your head. You are the victim who became victorious. You are the one who was betrayed but survived. You are the strong one who doesn't need excuses or explanations. And this narrative served you. It gave you structure, purpose, a way to make sense of what happened. But it also kept you trapped in the moment of betrayal, constantly reliving the pain, even unconsciously. Scorpio, I know how you're feeling right now. There's a part of you that just wants to ignore this approach. Leave this person waiting for an answer that will never come. Make them feel a fraction of the pain they caused. And there's another part, perhaps smaller but more persistent, that wonders, what if this conversation is exactly what I need to finally break free? Because carrying a grudge for years is exhausting, isn't it? Even when you pretend you don't care anymore. Even when you say you've moved on. The truth is, this resentment has occupied a huge space inside you, consuming energy that could be used to create, to love, to live fully. Have you spent years carrying this pain alone, unable to explain to anyone how much it affected you? Leave a comment saying, I carry wounds that no one sees, but that have changed who I am. This isn't just a comment, it's an acknowledgement of your truth. It's you admitting that that person's mistake had real and lasting consequences. And when you write this, you're letting other Scorpios know they're not alone in this struggle between wanting revenge and wanting peace. The conversation this person wants to have won't be easy for either of you. They'll have to admit things they've probably avoided thinking about for years. They'll have to look at their own character flaws, their own mistakes, their own capacity to hurt someone who didn't deserve it. And you'll have to decide whether to let them speak, whether to listen to what they have to say, whether to give them a chance to try to fix what seems irreparable. And here's the hard truth. Even if she apologizes in the most sincere way possible, it won't erase what happened. It won't bring back the years you lost dwelling on the betrayal. It won't instantly heal all the ways that mistake changed you. It won't automatically make you trust her again. Forgiveness isn't a magic eraser that undoes the past, but it could be something different. It could be the key that finally frees you from the prison you've built around this wound. Because here's what you need to understand, Scorpio. When you refuse to forgive, when you keep the anger and resentment alive, you're not just punishing the person who hurt you, you're punishing yourself too. You're choosing to live perpetually in the moment of betrayal, bound to someone you hate by the invisible chains of resentment. This person's approach, their willingness to talk and try to fix the past mistake, isn't about them getting relief from guilt. That's secondary. It's about you having the opportunity to transform this open and infected wound into a scar you can touch without feeling sharp pain. It's about you finally being able to think about this person without your whole body tensing up with tension. Scorpios are masters of transformation. You understand better than any other sign that death and rebirth are essential parts of life. You have lived various versions of yourselves throughout your lives, leaving behind who you were and emerging as something new and stronger. But this specific transformation, the transformation that comes through forgiveness, may be the most difficult of all, because it requires you to let go of something that has become part of your identity. You've built so much of who you are today in reaction to what that person did. Your defenses, your protective strategies, the way you relate to others, everything has been partially shaped by that betrayal. And there's an unconscious fear that if you forgive, if you let go of this anger that has given you strength, you won't know who you are anymore. As if anger were the foundation that keeps you standing. But the truth is the opposite. Anger is not a foundation. It's dead weight. You've carried this weight for so long that you've become accustomed to it, even confusing it with strength. But true strength doesn't come from holding grudges. It comes from having the courage to let go, from choosing peace even when you have every right to choose revenge, from deciding that your energy is too precious to continue being wasted on someone who no longer deserves a place in your life. When that person comes to you to talk, you're going to have to make a decision. And that decision shouldn't be about whether or not they deserve your forgiveness. It should be about whether or not you deserve your own liberation. Because in the end, forgiving isn't saying that what they did was okay. It's not forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't matter. It's acknowledging that it happened, that it mattered deeply, but that you refuse to let it continue defining who you are. There are several ways this conversation can happen. She might approach you directly, vulnerable and humble, admitting everything without excuses. Or she might try to downplay what she did, hoping you'll accept a watered-down version of the truth. She might be genuinely transformed and remorseful, or she might just be trying to ease her own conscience before moving on with her life. And here's what's important. You can't control which of these versions you'll encounter. You can't guarantee she'll say exactly what you need to hear or fully admit what she did, but you can control your own response. You can choose to listen with an open but protected heart. You can allow her to speak without obligating yourself to accept everything she says. You can assess whether the apology is genuine without feeling obligated to forgive if you're not ready. Scorpio, one of your greatest strengths is your ability to see the truth behind masks. When this person is in front of you trying to fix a past mistake, you will know if they are sincere. You will sense if their transformation is real or just an act. And you can use this keen perception not to judge them cruelly, but to discern whether it's worth investing emotional energy in this reconciliation. But regardless of what you perceive about her motivations, there's something only you can decide: whether you're ready to break free from the prison of resentment. Because you can refuse forgiveness and remain bound to her through hatred, or you can forgive and completely cut the chains that bind you to this painful past. Forgiving doesn't mean she comes back into your life. It only means she stops occupying so much space in your mind and heart. Before this conversation happens, you're going to experience an emotional roller coaster. You'll oscillate between wanting to hear what she has to say and wanting to ignore it completely. Between curiosity about her apologies and the certainty that no explanation will be enough. Between hoping that this might bring some peace and fearing that it will only reopen wounds you fought so hard to heal. All these conflicting emotions are valid. Don't force a decision before it's time. Allow yourself to feel everything that's arising. Process the anger that still exists. Acknowledge the pain that has never fully healed. But also pay attention to whether there is, somewhere inside you, a small spark of relief in the possibility of finally closing this cycle in a more conscious way. The conversation might reveal things you didn't expect. It might give you answers to questions that have haunted you for years. It might show you that the person who hurt you was more complex than the one-dimensional villain you created in your head. This doesn't excuse what they did, but it can add nuance to the narrative. It can humanize the person you had turned into a monster in your memory. Or it could confirm everything you've always known, that she acted selfishly, cruelly, with total disregard for your feelings. And if that's the case, you'll have final confirmation that your breakup was necessary and justified. But at least you'll have complete clarity. No more of that little doubt that sometimes whispers, "What if I misunderstood?" Scorpio. True power lies not in never forgiving. It lies in having the discernment to know when forgiveness liberates you and when it only puts you back in a vulnerable position. It lies in recognizing the difference between someone genuinely repentant and someone trying to manipulate your emotions once again. It lies in understanding that you can forgive without reconciling. You can release resentment without giving that person access to your life again. When the time comes to talk, set your boundaries clearly beforehand. Decide how much time you're willing to dedicate to it. Choose a place where you feel safe and in control. Don't let her dictate the terms of the meeting. This is your healing process as much as it is her request for forgiveness. You have the right to structure it in a way that protects you as much as possible. And during the conversation, allow yourself to be completely honest about the impact her mistake had on your life. Don't minimize your pain to make her feel better. Don't accept superficial excuses or attempts to justify the unjustifiable. If she truly wants to make amends, she needs to hear the whole truth about what she caused. And you deserve to say that truth out loud, perhaps for the first time since it happened, but also allow yourself to listen, not with the intention of automatically accepting everything she says, but with the willingness to understand her perspective. Sometimes what seemed like pure malice was actually a complex mix of immaturity, fear, external pressures, and poor choices made in moments of weakness. This doesn't excuse anything, but it can give you the understanding you need to finally let go. After the conversation, regardless of how it goes, you'll need time to process it. Don't make immediate decisions about whether or not to forgive. Let her words settle. Observe how you feel in the following days. Pay attention to whether you feel any relief, any lightness, or if you just feel heavier and more troubled. Forgiveness, if it comes, probably won't come all at once. It will come in layers, in moments. First, you can forgive small parts of what happened, then larger parts, until one day you realize you can think about that person and what they did without feeling that sharp pain, without that all-consuming anger. And when you reach that point, you will discover something incredible. You are lighter, freer, more capable of loving and trusting again than you have been in years. Scorpio, your capacity for profound transformation is your greatest gift. You have already experienced several deaths and rebirths throughout your life. This may be another one, the death of the version of you that is tied to the past through resentment, and the birth of the version that has chosen peace instead of revenge, liberation instead of self-imposed imprisonment. The person who wants to talk to you to fix a past mistake is giving you a gift, even if they don't realize it. It's not the gift of the apology itself, because words alone don't heal deep wounds. It's the gift of opportunity. The opportunity to finally, after all these years, consciously choose what to do with this pain you've been carrying. You can choose to keep it, nurture it, let it define how you relate to the world. Or you can choose to transform it into wisdom, into true strength, into compassion for yourself and for others who also carry invisible wounds. You can choose to be the Scorpio who never forgets, but who also doesn't allow the past to steal their present. And regardless of what you decide about forgiving that specific person, I hope you decide to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for trusting when you shouldn't have, for taking so long to see the signs, for still feeling pain from something that happened years ago, for not being as invulnerable as you'd like to be, for being human, imperfect, capable of being hurt. Share in the comments. Let other Scorpios know they're not alone in this struggle between keeping their wounded pride under control and seeking inner peace. Your courage might inspire someone to make the choice that best serves their own healing. Subscribe to the channel because processing past betrayals and making decisions about forgiveness are complex processes that deserve ongoing support. You'll need guidance for moments of doubt, reminders of your own power, and tools to distinguish between genuine forgiveness and simply accepting less than you deserve. Activate notifications to receive content that will help you not only deal with this upcoming conversation, but also build a life where old wounds no longer dictate your present choices. Someone wants to fix a past mistake, and you have the power to decide whether to allow this attempt at repair, not for them, but for yourself. For the Scorpio, who deserves to live free from the weight of grudges that have lasted too long.